Welcome to America's Game of the Week, and welcome to New Orleans. What a matchup today. It's week 9, and it's the Los Angeles Rams 8-0 taking on the 6-1 New Orleans Saints. And now welcome to the broadcast booth, everybody. I'm Joe Buck. That's a Hall of Famer. His name is Troy Aikman. What a matchup for you here today. This is the first time in NFL history this late in the year the two teams meet that are averaging scoring over 33 points a game. So I guess we're going to see just a pinball machine here with the scoreboard being lit up. Who's going to stop who?
Well, I think that's a big question. We're talking about the two hottest teams in football and two of the best offensive minds in the game with Sean Payton and Sean McVay. And when you talk about these two guys, you know that they're very innovative. We're going to see a lot from them, a lot of different wrinkles. They've been locked up in their offices all week. We're going to see some things that we haven't seen before. So the burden really comes down to these defenses and who's able to make a stop. Dennis Allen for the Saints, Wade Phillips, the defensive coordinator for the Los Angeles Rams, and who can steal a possession, whether that's a takeaway, whether that's a red zone stop, force a field goal. To me, that's going to be the difference in who wins and loses.
So you talk about defense. The last time the three of us, because we're going to include Aaron in this, saw the New Orleans Saints. They lost that heartbreaker in the playoffs to the Vikings. For more on their mindset, let's go down to Aaron Andrews.
Yeah, and ever since the way their postseason ended, the Saints really just want to know, how do they stack up? According to defensive end Cam Jordan, what better way to find out than go head-to-head with the lone undefeated team in the NFL? Jordan saying, look, we have a winning streak of our own. We're building each week. But if you want to measure yourself, here it is. Here's your test. And Joe, you know this crowd will do anything they can today to help out.
Yeah, this is as tough a place to play on the road as any in the National Football League. Should be fun. Glad you're with us. The Rams won the toss. They defer. The Saints will get the ball, and so we'll see Drew Brees right out of the gate. That guy wears number 7. You know why? Because he's one of the quarterbacks on the depth chart for the Saints. His name is Taysom Hill, and he's now returning kicks.
He's on every special teams unit they have.
Hill over to his right. He is just going to keep it in the end zone and out to the 25. Comes the football, and here comes Drew Brees. There have been 9 5,000-yard passing seasons in the history of the NFL. This guy has 5 of them. He's the all-time leader in pass yardage. He did that, got to the top of the mountain a few weeks back against Washington. They didn't need him, Troy, last week at the Vikings to light it up. They just got a team win, and it's a different looking offense and approach by Brees and Payton.
Yeah, it kind of started to change last year when they brought in Alvin Kamara and started relying on running the football a little bit more, took some pressure off of Brees.
Here's Kamara, right side, breaks a tackle, and good work to turn that into a positive. A gain of 5. Ebukam is the one who whiffed. And we'll look at this Saints offense. When they went out and got Max Unger in that trade with Seattle in 2015, it was a big move. They don't have a tall quarterback. They need to be good in the middle, and the center and the 2 guards are going to be tested against this Rams defensive front here today. Handoff is to Kamara. A lot of room out across the 40. Brought down by John Johnson, but 2 good runs. 17 yards for Kamara and a first down.
Well, I spoke about Alvin Kamara and the impact that he had on this team last year. And then, Joe, to follow up with what you were talking about in this offensive line, don't forget the other 2017 draft pick, Ryan Ramczyk, who starts at right tackle. And what a great rookie season he had, and he's really solidified that right side for the Saints line.
Like 2-6. Ready?
Brees out of the shotgun. Good protection. Floats it. Pass is caught. Flag is down, and that's Michael Thomas, who is one of the best in the league. And the early indication is it's against the Rams, and the play will stand. Bill Vinovich is our referee.
Prior to the pass. Holding. Defense number 22. Penalty decline. Result of the play. First down.
They do a great job. Alvin Kamara, he's in there in protection, and when you give Brees this kind of time, he will carve you up. Now, this is a great catch by Michael Thomas. I mean, Marcus Peters is in pretty good position there, and the ball was deflected, and yet he's still able to haul it in.
Ingram gets it for the first time in the game, and he spins away from a couple of tackles and a nice run on first down. A gain of 5. Michael Thomas, Troy, 59 catches on 65 passes thrown his way. When Brees goes to 13, they don't miss.
That's 90%. And you talk about number 1 receivers in this league. That's a number 1 receiver. When you get the ball in his vicinity, he's going to make a play on it. Still, as great as he is, I think he's a very underrated player in our game. He's terrific. He just goes about his business each and every week.
Signed through next year. He's about to cash in on a big payday. Third down coming up as Ingram carries. A gain of 3. Brockers on the stop. Look at the numbers that Michael Thomas has put up through his first 38 games in the NFL. 254 catches compared to Odell Beckham Jr.'s 252. And he's one of 2 receivers in the league with over 250 catches, 3,000 receiving yards since the start of 2016. Brees is lined up wide to the right. Taysom Hill in shotgun. He keeps, he runs, he's short by a yard. They like to get a little misdirection going with number 7, who can do a lot of things. It's going to be 4th down, and right now it looks like they'll go for it. They will. 7 of 8 on 4th down tries of the Saints this season.
Yeah, not surprised that Sean Payton is going for it here where they are on the field. And coming into this game, both of these offenses have to realize that they're going to have to put points on the board. Slowing either one of them down is going to be a challenge defensively.
Taysom Hill still in there. He gets it on a toss. He's looking to throw in the direction of Brees. Not there. Takes off. He's got it. First down inside the 30. They can do so many things with number 7, and he gets 9 yards on 4th and 1.
Well, that was one of those new looks that Sean Payton came up with this week in the film room, because they were going to come back and throw it back to Drew Brees, but the Rams were not fooled. You see Taysom Hill, he gets the ball, he comes back, he's going to throw it back to Drew Brees along that left sideline. Just nothing there, but with his athleticism, he's able to go get the first down. It's a great job on his part.
Out of the shotgun, Brees fires over the middle. Pass is caught inside the 15 by Thomas. And the Saints are making a statement here on their first possession. That one good for 16.
A great matchup inside. Larry Warford, the right guard, he takes on Aaron Donald one-on-one. That's a tough assignment. Donald's able to get pressure back in Brees' face, but not before he delivers the ball to Michael Thomas.
Saints are already inside the red zone, where they're 67%, tied for 7th in the league, and you can see that defense huffing and puffing here on this first possession by the Saints.
Yellow 80, ready, we're ready for set.
Brees dumps it to Kamara, breaks one tackle, can't break another. Play is made by Corey Littleton, having a great year in a gain of 2.
Now, this is obviously a great drive to start this game for the Saints, and the whole key to this thing defensively for the Rams is, can they get pressure on Drew Brees? Because if they're not able to, I don't think that back end can hold up.
Rams made the deal for Dante Fowler from Jacksonville. He's out there now. He's at right end.
We're ready for set.
And on 2nd and 8, toss to Kamara, blocking in front. Tiptoes. Touchdown. What a drive by the Saints to start the day.
The Rams have 3 defenders out here to take this on, and one gets blocked, and the other two completely whiff, and then along with John Johnson at the very end, number 43. 4 guys unblocked to make a play on Kamara and unable to do so.
Kamara's been unbelievable as Lutz knocks it through. 24 touchdowns in 24 games for Kamara. What a drive by the Saints on America's Game of the Week, up by 7. It was unbelievably quiet on that opening possession for the Saints until Kamara drove it in from 11 yards away. Breeze was 3 for 3 on the drive. Taysom Hill, a 9-yard run on 4th down and 1. It's not going to be quiet anymore. What an opening possession. And now we'll see if the Rams can answer. This is Countess on the return. And Blake Countess forced out at the 29 by Washington, back to the touchdown.
Well, you see those 3 guys right there. First, Mark Barron. He's got a chance at him. Lamarcus Joyner. The one blocked is Troy Hill. Those 2 guys completely whiff, and then John Johnson comes in, and this was the 4th and 1 that set it up. They try to come back on a gadget play. They cover it up perfectly, and yet he's still able to pick up the first down. Wade Phillips called some good defenses on that possession, but his players just simply didn't make the play.
All right, now what's Jared Goff have in the way of an answer? Here's Gurley. Gets knocked down. And the play is made by Demario Davis, a gain of 2. Well, Jared Goff has gone from the number 1 overall pick in 2016 to kind of a wasted rookie season to in the hands of Sean McVay, and now one of the best in the NFL.
Yeah, and I've said when he signs his next contract, he ought to give Sean McVay 10%. Because he's completely turned this kid's career in the right direction.
Wide open is the tight end Higbee. And Higbee breaks a tackle, quiets the crowd, and takes it to the Saints 36. A 33-yard completion, longest of the year for Higbee.
Well, Higbee's a former wide receiver, and he threatens the defense, and there were defensive backs completely turned around on this play. And this is a secondary for New Orleans that has had some problems.
They made the trade, got Eli Apple from the Giants. Are they better? We'll find out today for sure. Goff keeps, rolls, runs on first down. He is out of bounds, just short of first down yardage, a gain of 9. A good block by Higbee out there on the edge. This is an offensive line that's good. It's an aging offensive line. They are obviously terrific in the category of backs and receivers. They have the best back and maybe the MVP in the league in Todd Gurley.
Well, you talk about that aging offensive line between Andrew Whitworth, their left tackle, and Roger Saffold, their left guard. Close to 300 starts combined for those 2. And I've said it before, last year when this offense got turned around under Sean McVay, it started with the offensive line.
On second down and 1, Gurley plows ahead for the first down. How about this defense? Number 23 in the NFL. They're number 1 against the run. And so they will have their hands full with Todd Gurley, and Todd Gurley will have his hands full with his Saints D.
Yeah, I think that number 1 defensive rushing rating may be a little inflated. We're going to find out for sure whether they're for real this afternoon. They have only faced 1 top 15 rushing attack this season, and that was the Redskins. We'll see how they hold up against Todd Gurley and this Rams offense.
Here he is, left side wide open. Gurley sets up first and goal. Todd Gurley has already scored 15 touchdowns through 8 games, and he's sniffing number 16. This is a 15-yard gain.
Well, Roger Saffold, you see the job that he does right there in the middle. I think he's another one of those guys. He's in his 9th year, but a very underrated player. He's been exceptional for a while now. Makes a key block to spring Todd Gurley.
Saffold has started at every spot on the Rams offensive line except center. First and goal. The hand to Gurley. He gets to the edge. Todd Gurley dives. Touchdown. Number 16 for number 30. And what an answer by Los Angeles after the score by the Saints. And we'll take another look at the end of the play. An 8-yard touchdown run as it sits right now.
A heck of a job of getting on the edge. We'll take a look and see. That's a touchdown. That's awfully good right there. Look at the blocking by Cooper Kupp, 18, and then Robert Williams, 17. He's inside. They do a great job of allowing Gurley then to just outrun everybody to the pylon.
Talk about Cooper Kupp, Troy, blocking. His grandfather, Jake, a left guard here for the Saints, an original Saint, is in the New Orleans Saints Hall of Fame and was honored before the game. His grandson, Cooper, an honorary captain, and he was out there blocking for number 30, who has 16 touchdowns. 7-7. What a start. The NFL single season touchdown record belongs to the great LaDainian Tomlinson when he was MVP back in 2006 with 31. Todd Gurley, it looks like, will challenge that by the end of this season, and he gave one up in a game that you and Tom Brenneman and Aaron did last Sunday in LA for the team. He said, forget fantasy, forget Vegas, I don't care. So it could be 17, but instead it's 16. The game is tied 7-7. The Saints about to get it back. There's one reason why we're showing you this. 1969, January 12th, the Jets win Super Bowl III. July 20th, Apollo 11 lands on the moon. August 15th, Woodstock. August 16th, this is why we're showing it to you, because Richie Science, our producer, loves the Mets. They won the World Series. On November 9th, the Rams start 8-0. They're 8-0 in 2018. And the 20th squad to start 8-0 since the NFL went to a 16-game schedule in '78.
Great Roman Gabriel. 8-0.
On first down, Breeze. Good protection. Pass to the sideline. Caught. That's the rookie, Tre'Quan Smith. A lot of hand checking going on. No flag. 19-yard completion.
Well, this is what Tre'Quan Smith does a really nice job of. I think when he gets vertical and he's able to run straight line type routes, almost drops that ball, he's able to make some plays. Had a big game a couple weeks ago against the Washington Redskins in his debut. But when they lost Ted Ginn, it allowed Tre'Quan Smith then to get more opportunities, and they need him to continue to develop to play opposite Michael Thomas.
Breeze at the bottom of the screen. Handoff by Taysom Hill to Alvin Kamara. Gets maybe a yard. Let's look at this defense for LA. They're the number 8 ranked defense. As far as points are concerned, they're number 6. They're very good up front. And they just added Dante Fowler to the linebacker mix right before the trade deadline.
Yeah. And Drew Brees said, wow, the trade deadline couldn't have come at a worse time, right before we have to face them.
Easy, kill. Ready. We're waiting. What's that?
Breeze fires. Thomas with a catch. Flag is thrown. Marcus Peters in coverage. And for the moment, Thomas is 2 yards short of a first down.
I think they're going to get Marcus Peters on that at the top of the route. Didn't much matter. He caught it anyway. Let's take another look at it. This is going to be
Pass interference. Defense number 22. Spot foul. Automatic first down.
It looked like he got a hold of the arm there, the hand, as he's trying to come out of his route. And, you know, Michael Thomas is not, as the conversation continues, but
I think initially here, Troy, Sean Payton was going to decline the penalty, but what comes with a penalty is an automatic first down. I think that's why Bill Vinovich just walked over and said, Are you sure? Yeah, I want 1st and 10. So they will accept the penalty. Otherwise, it would have been 3rd and 2.
Take the penalty, 1st and 10 instead of 2nd and 1.
It would have been 3rd and 2, not 2nd and 1, but it doesn't matter. They take the penalty. 5-yard gain, 1st down for the Saints.
And there's Teddy Bridgewater, and of course we see a lot of Taysom Hill. We saw all 3 quarterbacks in the game the other day, and Sean Payton loves Teddy Bridgewater. They went out and made a trade, were able to bring him in, and if something were to happen to Drew Brees, Bridgewater would be the guy who got the call.
Up front, that was Sue who came across. Was he drawn off right across from Unger?
We'll see. One of the advantages of playing at home when you're facing a dominant pass rush like the Rams have. Able to use the hard count.
Neutral zone infraction. Defense number 93. 5-yard penalty. Still 1st down.
I've heard quiet domes and home stadiums when the home team's got the football before. I've never heard a dome this quiet. This is like what it's like going out to practice.
Yeah, it's like Sunday at church. It's pretty good, though. It tells you, how smart these fans are. Offense is on the field, and I've been at some games where they're doing the wave when their offense is out there on the field, and it makes you kind of wonder a little bit.
Waiting. What's up?
Here's Kamara on a toss, running right. 1st down at the 35. Good block by Zach Line out in front, a gain of 8.
There goes Zach Line, and then Josh Hill, number 89, the tight end. He blocks the edge, and if you're going to run strong side, you better have a tight end then that can handle that block, and Josh Hill's able to, and like you said, Zach Line, the fullback, don't see many of those anymore in today's game, but he makes a nice lead block also.
Should we just be quiet? I feel like we're being too loud.
Like we're interrupting somebody.
Yeah.
Ready. We're ready. Set.
Action. Brees gets hit as he throws, and the pass incomplete for Benjamin Watson. And that's the first incompletion for Drew Brees.
Well, they run a little game up front, and Aaron Donald then is going to come around and get to Drew Brees, and we've seen already times in this game. Of course, anytime you get hit like that, you start to worry about a shoulder, and of course we know that Drew Brees, when he came here in 2006, that was the concern. That's why just about every other team that needed a quarterback passed on him, including the Miami Dolphins. But you have to get after him if you're going to have any chance of slowing down this offense.
2-6, ready for second.
2nd down, pass is caught. That's the tight end, Watson, for a 1st down at the 18. Barron in coverage, and it was not bad coverage, just a great throw.
Well, we've seen a lot of plays already in the early going where coverage has not been all that poor. It's been pretty good, and just complete accuracy. Of course, 77% of his passes coming into this game, and here's what the Saints do. They throw the ball to Michael Thomas. They get it to Alvin Kamara, and then they sprinkle in a little bit of Ben Watson, and that time they're able to get Ben Watson the ball. But those are the 3 targets, generally speaking, that Drew Brees is looking for.
On 1st down from the 18, well played, Kamara, Aaron Donald. Uma.
They're moving Aaron Donald, as they do every week, to just find the matchups that they like. And this time he moves over to the offensive left side. This guy's unbelievable. Best defensive player in football.
He leads the NFL in sacks. He leads the NFL in quarterback hits. He leads the NFL in tackles for loss. And Sean McVay joked with us, imagine how good he'd be if he showed up for camp. Over the middle, it's Hill, the tight end. On 1st down, and that's well played by John Johnson.
Well, now the Saints are down in this area, and so far neither defense has been able to make a stop. And like we talked about coming into this game, it's now 3rd down, and who's going to be able to make a stop on this down in this area of the field? It's a 4-point play when you make a stop in the red zone. You make a stop, they have to settle for a field goal. You don't make a stop, they come away with 7 points.
Swing, corner, corner, ready. We're waiting, set.
3rd down and 8. Breeze has a man. That's Kamara. He's got another. Yards, Alvin Kamara. He's run one, he's caught one already.
Alvin Kamara is so good on this option route. You're going to see the way that he straightens up. And once he straightens up and squares up the defender, he's got a two-way break, and there's no way to stop him. He's really good doing that out of the backfield.
14-7. The question is, how did Alvin Kamara last until the 3rd round? In the draft of 2017, he is fantastic. Saints up 7. Well, it's one of the great marriages this side of Hollywood on America's Game of the Week. They got together in 2006. They went to the champ game. 2009, they won the Super Bowl. Sean Payton and Drew Brees, the best tandem, head coach and quarterback in the NFC. There's a pretty good one in the AFC, and they'll take on Green Bay later tonight. Tomorrow night on Fox, 911 is all new, and critics agree it remains the greatest and wildest show on television. Yeah, it's that good. Don't miss an all-new 911 tomorrow at 9 Eastern, 8 Central on Fox.
And you're right, Joe. That's been quite a partnership between Sean Payton and Drew Brees. And I know the Los Angeles Rams expect the same type of a relationship that has started for them with Sean McVay and then, of course, Jared Goff. And this has been fun to watch going back to last year and the transformation. And granted, it was just one season as a rookie. But what a turnaround that was offensively for them.
Here's Robert Woods getting it on a handoff and doesn't have a lot of room. Got 2. That's it. Well played by this Saints defense. Eli Apple in on the stop, but he was not alone. 2nd down and 8. And when you talk about the relative ages, early 50s for Sean Payton. Drew Brees is 39. On the other side, Goff is 24. His head coach is 32. Pass is caught by Woods, who just had it on the handoff. Now they send him out. Good for 12 and a 1st down.
What a little better throw there by Jared Goff, and they've got a chance to catch this ball and run, and there's no telling what might have happened. He had a nice step on Eli Apple there.
Rams get the snap away. No challenge. That ball rolled at the end. Here's one for Cooks, the former Saint, down inside the 15. And that quiets the crowd. 48 yards to the former Saints.
Marshawn Lattimore man-to-man. They go post corner on him, and excellent job by Brandon Cooks. Good route on his part. He creates the separation, and the Rams are off and flying.
And now hurrying it up. Here's Gurley with a cutback. Down inside the 10. On that previous play, the crowd reacted as the replay was run on the scoreboard. The Rams got up and snapped it in a hurry, and we'll discuss it when we come back. What a game. After one, back after this from your local Fox station. 2nd down and 6 as we start the 2nd quarter. The ball sitting at the 9. Here's the play, and we'll talk to Mike Pereira after this next play coming up. The crowd reacted. The Rams snapped it in a hurry and got it deep downfield to set up this scoring opportunity. The Rams can get a 1st down inside the 3. And we've seen 275 yards of offense after 1 quarter. Goff, good protection, throws high and incomplete for Gurley. And and we'll welcome you inside our broadcast booth. Maybe. There we are. People scrambling out of the way behind us. Mike Pereira, what'd you see?
Well, I'll tell you, it is a close play, but he's got control of the ball there. Now it's going to roll over, but he's actually going to put his left hand on the ball. I just don't think they would have had enough to actually reverse this to an incomplete pass.
A late flag on that previous play. You saw the incompletion. They called a defensive holding, which sets up 1st and goal inside the 5.
Well, the Rams have yet to face a 3rd down. That would have been their first. But as a result of the hold, they got 1st and goal.
Gurley back to the line of scrimmage. That's it. A.J. Klein in on the stop. You just had a feeling coming into this game that this was a day where the punters, and there are 2 good ones who could be involved in this game, could relax. Hecker and Morstead.
Yeah, they don't get a lot of work typically anyway.
The penalty was on Eli Apple, who's up at the top of the screen. 2nd and goal. Goff, end zone, touchdown Cooks. He helped get him down there, and he takes it in. For Brandon Cooks, touchdown number 3 as his good season continues, 1st year with LA.
It's pretty good right here. You're going to see what Jared Goff sees. There's a lot of bodies right there. I mean, you see that he's got to fit that thing into a tight little area there with 10 yards of end zone to work with Kupp on the front line and then Cooks working the back line. These defensive coordinators, I don't know if they're going to have any hair at the end of this game.
Marcus Williams was defending. Cooks with the 48-yarder to get him down there, and then the 4-yard touchdown reception to tie this game. Here's the penalty right there on Apple that set up 1st and goal from the 4. And then from the 4, Goff, Cooks, tie game in New Orleans. Welcome back to the Mercedes-Benz Superdome. 2 defensive coordinators. Wade on the left, who was defensive coordinator for his dad for the Saints back in the early 80s and was the interim head coach here in 85. And on the right, you've got Dennis Allen, who's trying to figure out some way to slow down some offense.
Wade Phillips in his 41st year in the NFL.
Here's Hill, right side to the 24. Bryce Hager on the tackle. 23-yard return, and here comes Drew Brees. We're 1 all-time in passing yards, coming in over 41 miles of NFL turf. And coming in with 6,410 completions, or 6,394 more than Nick Mullins of the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah. Well, talking of completions, there's only been 1 incompletion between these 2 quarterbacks so far in this game.
Here's Ingram, balls out. Recovered by Donald. Knocked out by Ebukam. And that's what you were talking about coming in, whether it's a takeaway or a key stop on a 3rd down. Now Mark Ingram is down and needing attention after that fumble. That's his 2nd fumble, 1st lost of the season.
Well, Ebukam, he comes in, and it looked like maybe his helmet was put right on the ball. Hard to tell exactly, but it popped out pretty good. And then Aaron Donald right there to recover it. And that's what this Rams defense has been about. They've been about getting after the quarterback in the passing game and then takeaways. It's a heck of a job. Right after the Rams had already scored 1 play in, and now they set up their offense here on the 22-yard line going in.
Saw that big smile on the face of Joe Barry, who's the linebackers coach and assistant head coach. Was the D coordinator in Washington. His linebacker made that play. Ebukam. Pass is incomplete to the tight end Higbee as the Rams take over at the Saints 22.
Well, one of the things that the Rams do such a good job of offensively is they dictate the tempo. That time, as soon as they broke the huddle, Jared Goff got everyone to the line of scrimmage right away and they snapped the ball. Sometimes they get up to the line of scrimmage and they take their time looking at what the defense is doing. Sean McVay can talk to him up until the play clock hits 15 seconds. At this point now, he's no longer able to talk to Jared Goff, and he's got to execute it on his own.
Malcolm Brown now in at running back. Goff throws incomplete. That's for Everett. Back to the fumble.
Yeah, Ebukam, he comes around and he just shoots in there. Nobody's able to get on him and make a play on the ball. And there's Mark Ingram, and they were happy to get him back after he served his suspension, but he's grabbing that right arm. Get a report on what his status is.
He's inside that blue tent on the sideline. 3rd down and 10. First official 3rd down of the game for the Rams. Pass to Cooks, looking for blocks. Won't get it. And a good play made by Onyemata to force 4th down. The field goal unit will come on for LA after a 6-yard gain.
Yeah, that's so good by Dennis Allen and his unit defensively. When you set the Rams up with that kind of field position, to be able to hold them without a 1st down and settle for a field goal attempt, that is really good in a game like this.
34-yard try by Zuerlein. 3rd game back after a groin injury. Good snap. Now Hecker's going to throw. Out to his right. Going to run. And depends on where they put it. Hecker thinks he got it. And it depends on the spot. It is right on the marker. Sean McVay going for it on 4th down with Hecker, and he looks to be short. Craig Robertson made that play. And you can see why Hecker thought he got it.
Well, he does a great job of extending the ball with his left hand to try to get as much distance as he could.
Boy, that's close. It looks closer than where they marked it. I'll say that. But it's a change of possession for now. And a challenge here by LA as McVay has thrown the flag. Here's a call.
After ruling the play, the ruling on the field stands.
Wow.
Charged the first time out.
Well, had we come back before Bill Vinovich made the call, I think we would have all three said, if you piece it together, it looks like Hecker gets the line to gain as he extends. His knees are up. But Mike Pereira, they'll always lean on the call was he was short. Was there enough definitive proof to say he got the first down? I guess their answer is no.
Well, I would have said so. I mean, only because, you know, to me, when the knee was down, he's fully extended the arm out. And to me, piecing those two, it's beyond the 12 at that point. So I guess that's why I'm not a replay official. But if it was me, I would have made it a first down.
It's only the second career rush attempt by Hecker. He's thrown the ball 17 times.
I think they want your job, Mike.
Handoff is to Kamara. We'll see if Ingram gets back in or if we have a report from the sideline as Barron makes the stop. Aaron, anything going on that you have found out about Ingram?
Yeah, they said he's good to go to come back in. After he came out of the tent, he got that right forearm, it looks, wrapped up. Guys have been coming by him, trying to grab the football out of him. He's testing kind of that elbow forearm area to see how the wrap is, but we're being told by the Saints he's good to go.
Maybe an indication of what Sean McVay thinks this game's going to be like. Going for it on 4th down instead of the field goal. Here's a pass for a first down to Thomas. It didn't work, so in essence, the turnover by Ingram really cost the Saints nothing.
That's right, and a great job defensively, as I said, as you see Mark Ingram then coming out onto the field. And I like the call, though, by Sean McVay. I mean, they've been really good on special teams and the things that they've been able to do to get first downs, fake punts, and things of that nature. In a game like this, yeah, keep it going. They had a chance, but unable to, so no harm on the turnover by the Saints.
Brees slings it, passes caught. Thomas again. It was the emergence of Michael Thomas, Troy, that allowed the Saints to trade Brandon Cooks to the New England Patriots. Then they turned around and traded him to the Rams for another first-round draft pick. But this guy is fantastic.
He's really good. You saw right there the job that he's able to do running the route. He completely turns around John Johnson, the safety for the Rams, and he's been making a habit of that ever since he came into the league.
Hey, 52. Hey, Clinton. Ready, lady, shut.
Brees steps through and will dive on first down just across the 45, a gain of 7.
Ball came out, but he was clearly down, right?
You see this offensive line, Larry Warford, he's going to have to block as Drew Brees is changing the call. He's in an empty formation, empty backfield, and Ndamukong Suh's able to get pressure in the face of Brees right in the middle, and that's what got him out of the pocket with plenty of room then to run. He doesn't run a lot, but he takes advantage of what he had there.
You can hear Mike Pereira. That play's dead. Once he dives, that ball came out. But it was over. Here's Kamara. Good throw. Good catch and run. Brees, Troy, is so good at those little throws and hitting Kamara in stride. It gives him such a head start on plays like that.
There's no question about it, and it's so key. And so those types of things, there's no stats for that. But when you're able to get the ball on the run to a guy like Alvin Kamara and let him get yards after the catch, it's huge. And Brees is as good as anybody in the league, and that's why he has set the record so many times, and he'll crush it this year if he continues at the 77% completion that he's currently at.
On first down, sideline pass is caught. What a grab by Benjamin Watson. Littleton was right there, and I don't know how Watson hung on to this.
They call it a wheel route. Out and up. He's got him beat. He's got Littleton beat big time, and he has it. When you see Littleton, he comes right through the middle of the arms, and yet Watson able to hang on to it. What he's been able to do when you talk about Drew Brees and some of these others around the league at their age, how about Ben Watson, a full-time tight end in this league at 37 years old? And he's played really well for these Saints, now on his second line of duty for them.
32-yard gain. Here's Ingram down to the 4. LaMarcus Joyner tripped him up. Or Ingram was headed for the end zone, a gain of 12.
Well, Zach Line, number 42. That's a smash block there, a wham block on Ndamukong Suh. He thinks he's got a free rush, and then Zach Line takes care of him. And I'm going to say a little different look for these Saints.
They've run 26 offensive plays, have 15 first downs. Here's Ingram bottled up. And with just over 8 to go in the half, it'll be second down and goal in a thrilling battle here in the NFC.
Well, when you look at New Orleans and you come into this game, you say, well, they're not really running the ball all that well. They're ranked 27th in the league in yards per carry, under 4 yards on average, but they've played some really good run defenses here over the last 3 weeks in Washington, Baltimore, and Minnesota. This is a defense that has struggled.
Quick pass for Thomas, broken up. Everybody bunched up, and that play had no chance, and that's just the second incompletion thrown by Brees.
Another one of those screen passes, and no one throws more screen passes than the New Orleans Saints. And They've already run several of them in this game, and they window dress them and do them a lot of different ways. That one, like you said, Joe, so many bodies there. I think the fact that the ball fell incomplete was probably a good thing.
3rd down and goal.
Michael Thomas at the top.
Breeze, end zone, pass, caught, touchdown, the rookie Smith. Add another weapon for the Saints, Tre'Quan Smith. He's got his 3rd of the year.
Initially, they're trying to throw the slant route to Michael Thomas, and Breeze is sticking with him a long time. He sat with him hard, waiting for him, but there was the safety there, but he comes back to the rookie, and he runs a nice route at the top of this. You see the acceleration and the burst off of that cut, and Troy Hill in coverage. That's a good job, and Breeze, knowing where he was, and comes back and finds him.
The Saints have been in the red zone 3 times. They have 3 touchdowns. Drew Brees, 12 of 14 for 151 and 2. Man, catch your breath. Saints up 7. America's game of the week, living up to the hype. 21-14, 7.5 to go in the opening half. Joe Buck, Troy Aikman, Aaron Andrews, Richie Zients, Rich Russo, Colby Bourgeois. Lutz knocks it into the end zone and out to the 25. It will come.
Go back and take a look at the touchdown. What I was talking about with Drew Brees is he's going to work to his left here on the throw, and he's trying to get it to Michael Thomas, but just good coverage, and the safety gets underneath it, and so he immediately then comes right back to the rookie Tre'Quan Smith. And those are some of the things you get from a veteran quarterback, just knowing where the holes are within a defense and where his matchups are. And then, of course, the rookie delivers and gets great separation for him.
Well, they've had a couple of great drafts around here with the Saints. Tre'Quan Smith, part of it. From the 25, it's Gurley cutting back. And that's Anzalone on the stop, a gain of 3.
And when you look at the Saints last year, Joe, it was the first time since 2011 that they had won the division. And really the reason why they won the division was because they won the 2017 draft. And that rookie class really established them, and it completely changed the makeup of this team and what they're now capable of doing going forward. And of course, a big part of that is how long is Drew Brees going to be there for him.
2nd down and 7. Play action, Goff protected, wide open is Woods. And Woods out to the 41. Let's just put names to that draft. Lattimore, Ramczyk, Marcus Williams, Alvin Kamara, Alex Anzalone, Trey Hendrickson. That was their draft last year, and now you add in this kid, the rookie receiver Tre'Quan Smith. He was part of a 13-0 UCF squad and had over 1,100 receiving yards and 13 touchdowns. They've drafted well.
Of course, Mickey Loomis and Jeff Ireland, the two that preside over the draft and being the ones who made those selections.
Just got it away. No panic by Goff. The pass is to Kupp.
Oh, man.
What a throw. He came out of his break, and the ball was sitting there saying, catch me.
I'm sorry, Joe, I stepped on you, but this is so good. Jared Goff turns this ball loose, and Kupp is nowhere near the top of the route and coming out of the break. That ball is in the air now, and he locates it, and that's a thing of beauty right there. And you don't see a lot of it anymore in this league, but when you watch the Rams, you see it each and every week. They are well coached, and they turn it loose, and they trust. Jared Goff does that his receivers are going to be where they're supposed to be.
Goff out to his right. He'll have to slide. I don't know if people realize how good Cooper Kupp has been through his first 20 games. He has the most receiving yards in Rams history, with over 1,300 more than Torrey Holt, more than Isaac Bruce, more than LSU's Eddie Kennison. #1, and he's coming off 2 missed games with a knee sprain, a concussion the week before. He's good.
He's really good. He set records at Eastern Washington, and he's come in beginning last year as a rookie, and it has continued.
Here's Gurley breaking 1 tackle, but he's got nowhere to go. P.J. Williams forced him out, but there were about 5 Saints waiting for him. 3rd down coming up.
Well, they haven't gotten them to many 3rd downs. If you look at it, they've only had 1. This is now the 2nd 3rd down for the Rams, and these are the downs you have to win.
Goff comes short to Gurley. Well played. Mario Davis made the stop. A gain of 5 to just shave a little bit off for Zuerlein, who now you have to believe will indeed try the field goal.
Well, and if nothing else, it certainly put the Saints on notice that they better contain. And they better have some answers for that edge. And you start trying to block kicks, and then you don't contain in case you see the fake. But yeah, I'd have to believe that we're going to see Zuerlein execute this one.
51-yard try. Low snap, good hold. Kick is wide. Hecker did all he could, and Zuerlein pushed it wide to the right. Now 9 of 11 on the year, and it's still a 7-point game in New Orleans. The highest passer rating since the start of last year. Drew Brees is #1. Jared Goff, 104.6, right behind him. And today, Drew Brees completing passes at 86%, Goff at 82%. Each have thrown only 2 incompletions. There are the numbers. They're big.
Well, they're big, and it was a big stop and a big miss. Then by Zuerlein, and for the Saints not to give up any points with a 7-point lead. A lot of pressure right now with 3.5 minutes to play in this half on this Rams defense, and in not giving up any more points. They get the ball to start the second half, but great field position here for New Orleans. But this is one of those games, as we've seen, that you're just trying to keep pace, and the Rams don't match and don't get anything. And now what can Wade Phillips and this defensive unit do?
Last 2 drives for LA have ended inside the Saints 35. They've come away with no points. Fake on a field goal that didn't work. And then a miss. Here's Thomas. Down near the 40. LaMarcus Joyner on the tackle, but this secondary has had no answer for the Saints.
Well, they're playing zone coverage here, and I just don't think against the great quarterbacks in our league, if you're not getting pressure, and clearly the Rams are capable, but if you're not able to get home on Drew Brees and you're playing zone coverage, I don't think in this league you have a chance. You just don't. Against Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Drew Brees, these guys will tear you up.
Ready. We're waiting. What's that?
5 catches, 69 yards for Thomas. Kamara, full head of steam. Another first down.
They do a good job on Aaron Donald in being able to block him. And then again, Josh Hill, he gets the edge. A broken tackle by Kamara. Zach Line. This is old school power football right now in this running game.
18 first downs for the Saints. Larry Warford, Pro Bowler from a year ago. and a former Lion. So far handling Donald and Sue. Here's Ingram spinning to the 24. We're at the 2-minute warning. Second down for the Saints when we come back. As they lead by 7 in this big NFC matchup. Keep Talib in the middle there with 2 necklaces that could light up a dome. He is due back after Thanksgiving. He should be available for the final stretch run. He is a great player, traded from the Broncos. Wade Phillips had him there. And the 32-year-old and former first-round pick is working his way back from ankle surgery, and they need him back. They miss him in a game like this.
Well, they sure do, and the guy standing next to him, Sam Shields, he got 1 start against Minnesota. He struggled, and then that's when they went with Troy Hill. But clearly in a game like this, you definitely miss Aqib Talib and what he could bring.
2nd and 6.
Ready, set.
Breeze for the end zone. Tight end through his hands, Josh Hill. Now 3rd down and 6.
Pretty good route there by Josh Hill, and so the Rams go man coverage now and realize they just can't sit back in zone. And Josh Hill right here, you see the release. He's able to get just right past Mark Barron. They had a chance. There's the other side of it with Michael Thomas, but like we've talked about, Joe, these 3rd downs now for the Rams, if they can make a stop here and force them to have to settle for a field goal, that'd be big right now before the half.
And it'd be time for the Rams to do something. Passes to Kamara. What a throw. And the clock continues to wind with Nickel Roby-Coleman on him, a gain of 10 on 3rd down.
Well, it's not even fair, like I talked about earlier on the touchdown. He comes out of the backfield. It's a choice route. And once he gets vertical and gets square on a defender, and he has the option to go either way, the defender doesn't know where he's going. I've watched this over and over since he came into the league. There's a lot of running backs in this league that just don't really know how to set up a defender on that route. He's so good at it, and he's almost uncoverable.
Ready. We're waiting for set.
Play action. Breeze keeps, floats. Watson, touchdown! What a play, what a throw, what a half for Drew Brees. Pretty good fake.
Yeah, pretty good. Ben Watson is right on the end of the line, and you see he sets it up too. So it's as much the quarterback, eyes are in the backfield. John Johnson looking back there, and then the tight end, Watson has to sell it. He does, and good throw and a nice punctuation to that drive.
It is a 14-point game, and Breeze has as many touchdowns as incompletions. What a half, and we'll be right back after this from Progressive. Well, Drew Brees, for the moment at least, is now number 3 all-time with 505 passing touchdowns. 1 in front of Tom Brady, who plays tonight, and this was a thing of beauty.
Well, it was, and what's happened here, Joe, is the Saints are approaching 300 yards of total offense here in this first half, as they've been balanced, about as balanced as you can get. They've thrown the ball 18 times, and they've run the ball 17 times. So everything then works. The play action like we just saw. Typically the Rams are playing from a lead, and they force an offense to get one-dimensional, and right now the Saints are just pretty much doing whatever they want.
And now there's time for Jared Goff. 2 timeouts in 1:06. Aaron Andrews.
Well, let's give you a little update on Ben Watson. You see him having fun after scoring that touchdown. But, Joe, I have to tell you, early in this game, after his first catch, he walked over to the sidelines, he ripped his glove off, and his finger was bent the wrong way. All I know is trainers surrounded him. He screamed. I'm assuming they took care of it, because ever since then, he's been out there, and he's been fantastic.
He just had his 44th career touchdown catch, Aaron, and now it's a 14-point game. You know the Rams aren't going to sit on this down with 1:06 left.
No, they get the ball to start the second half, and they need to go get some points of their own right now.
Goff, pass is picked, intercepted by Anzalone. Dominant first half by the Saints.
Well, takeaways have been hard to come by for these New Orleans Saints for the season. That's just their 8th on the year, but they have started to come in bunches. They had 2 against the Vikings on Sunday, and that is one heck of a catch by Anzalone, as he's starting one way, is able to put his left foot in the ground, come back. You see receivers not make catches like that. This guy is athletic. He's getting a shot.
He's got his first interception.
That's a great job. Last year, he's one of those guys you talked about in that draft class last year as a 3rd-round pick, and he started the first 4 games. He had some shoulder injuries in college. He then had another shoulder injury last year. He gets put on IR, and they knew they were going to need him today because of this athletic offense by the Rams, and he comes up big.
Breeze floats it again and nearly traded interceptions. Good play by Marcus Peters. Let's find out what's coming up at halftime.
Now that we're at week 9, coming up on the Visa halftime, you could say glass is half full on a complete season. We'll check out highlights from all around the league. What are you doing, Alex?
That glass looks half empty to me, bud.
No, it's half full.
Fully empty.
I think he needs a bathroom break. We'll let him do that and come back with a Visa halftime.
Thanks, guys. Look forward to it. 54 seconds left in the half. 2nd and 10. Breeze passes incomplete for Kamara. Think about where this game was. It was 14-14. Ingram fumbled. The Rams took over deep in Saints territory, went for it on a fake field goal instead of taking the points. It didn't work. Came close. And ever since, the Saints have dominated, now lead by 2 touchdowns and have a chance for more points.
And of course the missed field goal, and I think based on what we've seen from the Saints and the Rams' inability to stop them, can they make a stop here on 3rd down? But then it even makes more sense that McVay went for it on the fake field goal, knowing that you got to score a lot of points in this game if you're going to beat this team.
On 3rd down, Breeze going to run and dive for the first down. And a timeout taken by the Saints. He may be 39, but he can still run a bit. Picked it up.
Yeah, you feel like, as if you're Wade Phillips, that you can play man coverage and that he's not going to beat you with his legs. He's already now had a couple runs in this game that shows you he's certainly capable. That was a great job by Drew Brees, realizing that there is no spy on him. They're in man coverage. Everybody's running with receivers, and he went and got it. Just a heads-up play by the veteran.
The Saints have just under 300 yards in the half. 292. A chance for more. It's a season high in any half for the Saints, and Sean McVay is wondering when his defense is going to figure out how to stop Drew Brees.
And if you're Wade Phillips, I mean, there are no answers. And they just have not been able to slow down this runaway train.
And no real pressure. Pass is caught. That's Thomas. Shakes a tackle. Gets hit hard inside the 10. Went right through Marcus Peters and got 14.
We've seen now some costly missed tackles by the Rams when they've been in position to make plays and not being able to make the tackle.
Late flag.
Personal foul. Defense number 99. After the Super Bowl, Automatic first down.
That's against a frustrated Aaron Donald. No sacks for this Rams defense against this Saints offensive line that's only allowed 9 all year. That's the fewest in the league. If you're going to get Drew Brees, you better come get him quick because the ball gets out fast.
Well, that's right. And if there's anybody who questioned, how valid their protection has been, it certainly has been proven here in this first half, going against one of the more formidable pass rush groups by the Rams, and yet they have kept Drew Brees clean throughout this game.
Wasn't sacked at Minnesota a week ago, not sacked yet.
Ready. Jam. Blue 80. What's that?
First and goal. Brees keeps. Good block. Pass caught. Line out of bounds inside the 1. Littleton forced him out, but a block on this play that flipped Fowler by Ingram.
It's a great job, and Lang's trying to do what he can. Now, right now, where the ball is, Joe, with second down, the Saints have 2 timeouts, and so they do not have to throw the ball here if they want to just punch it in.
We came in with 12 rushing touchdowns, #1 in the league. They've added one. They've added another. Kamara's got his second rush, his 3rd touchdown of the half. And the Saints are 5 for 5 in the red zone.
Josh Hill's had himself a nice first half. He's done an excellent job in the blocking, in the run game, and that's what freed up Kamara to pretty much go in untouched.
This to make it 21 straight points by the Saints. Wow. Kamara pounds it home, and we'll be right back after this from Verizon. Well, Alvin Kamara, don't look now. He's got 12 touchdowns on the year and 3 in this game.
Well, and the key play in that drive, of course, was the 3rd and long when Drew Brees kept it and was able to pick it up with his legs.
Gurley leads the league with 16. Alvin Kamara, Kareem Hunt, others trying to come get him. The Rams get this kickoff. As Troy said earlier, they will receive the second half kickoff. We'll see what Jared Goff, fresh off his interception to Anzalone, his 6th of the year, wants to do with 26 seconds left.
Well, Jared Goff has to certainly be smart. We'll see what Sean McVay wants to do. This is a hard place to play. I've played here a number of times, especially when you're down 21 points, and they're able to just pin back with the crowd noise and come after you. And this is going to be a real challenge for this Rams team. And a lot of things are going to have to happen if they're going to climb back into it.
Goff gets hit as he throws. He finds his tight end, Everett. And Everett is able to break some tackles, get out to the 40. Timeout taken with 18 seconds left, a gain of 15. Well, you and I were talking off air before we came on that the Carolina Panthers, who we will see on Thursday in Pittsburgh in a great matchup on Thursday Night Football, are 6-2 now. They beat Tampa Bay. The Saints trying to stay in front of Carolina. And they have head-to-head matchups 2 of the final 3 weeks of the year.
It's pretty remarkable. I mean, the scheduling there, if this continues the way that it is, the fact that 2 out of the last 3 weekends on the season that those 2 teams, Carolina and New Orleans, will be meeting up, that could be a heck of a finish to decide this division.
1 timeout left. Blitz coming from the Saints. The pass is to Woods and caught and out of bounds inside Saints territory to the 43, a 17-yard play.
This is such a great throw by Jared Goff, laying it out on the boundary, and that was pretty close, and to be able to stop the clock, that was the big thing there, and not having to use a timeout. Yeah, I agree. Take another look at this one. He drags. That's great job by those officials seeing that.
It's inside 2 minutes, obviously, so that's a good call. It was a catch, and they're already at the outer edge of field goal range for Zuerlein, whose career long is 61 yards when he was a St. Louis Ram in 2015.
Yeah, not that long ago. So, right here, you've got a chance to kick it if you don't get any more yardage. If the Rams are able to come away with 3 points on this drive, they certainly would love a touchdown, but just 3 points would be huge to just change a little momentum, to regain a little bit of it, knowing they got the ball to start the second half. But this has been it's been a nice job with such little time on the clock when they got it.
What Goff can't do here is take a sack. They do have a timeout left. Gets rid of it fast, and he's on the wrong page as he looks for either Everett or Woods. He threw right between them, and now a little pushing and shoving breaks out, and this will be a big call.
Yeah, this is going to be huge. Could either take the Rams out of field goal range or help make it an easier attempt.
And the dome gets quiet again. 9 seconds remain, and let's take a look. It was well after the play.
Yeah, they might have gotten Roger Saffold. Well, the flag comes in. I don't know if they caught Saffold and took a shot first.
After the play, personal foul. Offense number 76. 15-yard penalty. Down counts. Second down.
That is a killer penalty against the Rams. And a veteran lost his cool. 9-year pro Roger Saffold. And that moves the ball back to the Ram 42.
Well, that's how you lose games like this. I mean, that's just Aaron Donald. We saw him have the one, and now Roger Saffold. He's been around the league too long. I like what I saw of Jared Goff, though. To go up immediately and try to calm him down, but that may be too much. And they got 9 seconds. They got to get it out quick, and they got to get on the ground if they're going to have any chance with just 9 seconds left.
Four-man rush. Goff, Everett. And he got him right back into position. 2 seconds left. They used the timeout. That's really well done.
It's so well done because everyone has to be on the same page. And I'm sure Jared Goff, as best he could in what little time he had in the huddle, let them know, hey, if we complete this pass, you got to get to the ground knowing we only have 9 seconds. There has to be that clock. And he gets to the ground. He didn't give himself up, but to still have time on the clock to give themselves a chance for a field goal here after that penalty on Roger Saffold, that's about as good as it can get.
20-yard completion.
Sean Payton's not happy about it.
To bring about a 56-yard try for Zuerlein, who missed from 51 earlier in the half. If he makes this, he ties the franchise record for field goals 50 plus.
Well, just his third game back. He missed 5 games with a groin injury, and how much of that is a factor? Is he fully healed? I mean, obviously, this is a pretty good boot right here.
Better snap. The kick is good. And good by plenty. Zuerlein now with career field goal 26 of 50 plus to tie Jeff Wilkins for #1 in franchise history. And in the first half, 52 total points, 557 yards. And the play of the first half is presented by DirecTV. More for your thing, that's our thing. It's an 18-point game. This one to the rookie, Tre'Quan Smith. 1 of 3 for Breeze in the half, and it's 35-17. A fun second half coming your way. Visa halftime is coming up after this from your local Fox station. That was today's game flow, brought to you by Progressive. 18-point game at the half. We had some fireworks in that first half. I'm Joe Buck along with Troy Aikman. We'll hear from Aaron in just a bit. But, man, I mean, a 14-14 game. The Rams went for the fake field goal. I get it, because we're going to see a lot of points. You have to expect the second half, but they didn't get it, and it really was all Saints after that.
Yeah, and I don't fault Sean McVay. I like the decision at the time. I like it probably even more so now that we have the hindsight of what the Saints were able to do. Over 300 yards of offense there in that first half, and the Rams have just been unable to slow them down. As we know, the Rams do start the second half with the football, and it's right in front of them. They know exactly what they have to do. It has to start with them being opportunistic offensively. I would expect to see them get even a little bit more aggressive. And then defensively, if they don't make a stop, it's not going to matter what they do on the offensive side of the ball. Wade Phillips and this defense, they got to come up with some way to slow down this Saints attack.
Countess will bring it out. Blake Countess cannot get to the 25. Craig Robertson on the tackle. Aaron Andrews, what did you learn?
Well, I spoke to both Seans. McVay told me for that defense, he said, look, we're facing one of the top offenses in the league. We knew what we were up against. Just as Troy said, we need to make a play, create a rush, and settle in. For the offense, he said, we've been moving the ball. I just need to put my team in better position, and I'll let you know what Sean Payton said coming up.
Cliffhanger. I love him. From the 23, down by 18. Good protection. Goff wanted to air it out. Comes back to Gurley. And the play made by Demario Davis. Aaron, finish up.
Sean Payton not happy with the way his defense ended that first half. He didn't like that they gave up a completion that set up a field goal, but he said, the second half, I'm not changing a thing. It's 0-0, and this is in his words. In other words, it's full speed ahead.
Yeah, that's just kind of the way old Sean is.
Yeah, and I think he has to have that approach, just knowing how explosive this Rams offense can be. And I mean, as we know, they lead the league in pass completions of 20 yards. And so they can come at you a lot of ways.
Here's one caught by Woods, looking to make a move. He's got a first down, and more. Survived the hit at the end by Marcus Williams in a gain of 19.
But Robert Woods is so good. And, you know, here after the catch, for him to immediately just get going and become a running back, essentially, and go get that first down. Really enjoyed watching him play. Didn't get a chance to see him play much when he was with the Bills, but he has been a great addition to this Rams attack.
Nobody did.
Probably right there, too.
Goff hands to Gurley, and good penetration up front. That's Davis again. Mario Davis, free agent pickup from the Jets. And he's been a nice addition to this Dennis Allen coordinated defense for the Saints.
Yeah, he has. Mario Davis, who was, as you said, with the Jets and really a tackling machine while he was with them. And he's done a good job. He's been a big reason as to why this run defense for the Saints came into this game as the #1 ranked running defense.
Second down and 10. Here's Woods again, and Woods with that stretch has enough for a first down. And that means that for Robert Woods, he's now got 8 straight games with 6 or more catches and 70-plus receiving yards. That's a tremendous streak. Goff, just a strike. And there's Woods again, sitting in between 3 defenders. That's Cooks. And he gets his first half.
Well, we talked about the big plays that the Rams are capable of in the passing game. And so Dennis Allen, with the score what it is, just trying not to give up the big play and the quick strike. They're playing coverage, 2 deep safeties. That's why we're seeing Robert Woods work the middle of the field and where Goff is going with the ball.
First catch of this half for Cooks. Good for 15. Backpedaling, it is juggled and dropped by Cooper Kupp. It was there. The pass maybe a little behind him, and no catch by Kupp.
It looked like he had it. P.J. Williams, right after it gets in his hands, knocks it out with his left hand. And P.J. Williams is a guy who's been worked over a little bit in the passing game coming in. Had a big pick 6 on Sunday, which certainly helped them win that ball game. And he makes a nice play right there to keep him from making the catch.
Got him the Defensive Player of the Week award. 2nd and 10. Goff backpedaling, finds Gurley, and Gurley draws a crowd. Demario Davis yet again, a gain of just 3.
Roger Saffold, and he's one of the better players and has been in this league, but he got driven right back into Goff on that one. Looked like it was Sheldon Rankins, and I tell you, Sheldon Rankins is one of those guys that was injured a little bit his rookie year. Last year essentially was his first season, and he has come on really strong here in year 3.
Third down and 7. Goff, pass caught. Tight end Everett. And a conversion on 3rd down. A completion of 13 yards. Anzalone on the stop.
Well, Gerald Everett, he lines up wide. Like I said, he was a guy who was a detached tight end back in college and can do a lot of different things. Kind of a raw young player, but has a lot of ability. Comes up with a nice play.
Rams trying to do exactly what they hope to do. Take this first possession down the field and get it into the end zone. Here's Woods on the handoff. Lattimore won't let him go in a game of 2.
Well, they played that pretty well, the Saints have. Woods came into this game with 8 rushing attempts. That was his second one. He hasn't gotten anything out of the ones that he's had today, but for those that have followed the Rams throughout this season, they like to run a lot of those jet sweeps, and it's not always Robert Woods who's getting it. They give it to Kupp, they give it to Brandon Cooks, they spread it around, but the Saints have been ready for it. Not much there.
Wide snap, pass to the end zone. It is incomplete for Higbee. Looked like a great throw, and Higbee could not make the grab. He was well covered.
Well, that was a tight throw. That was a tight throw. The undercut you see right there, but that was money. That was, as you said, Joe, that ball was right on the money by Jared Goff, and he hangs in the pocket tough. That ball should have been caught for a touchdown.
Now 3rd and 8. Quick snap. Goff pulls it back down, finds a receiver. That's Brown. And Brown goes down the sideline. They mark him out at the 5 to set up 1st and goal. And now the other official says touchdown. So there's a difference of opinion. And they're calling a touchdown. Let's take a look. Unbelievable effort by Malcolm Brown.
Malcolm Brown would be the starting tailback for a lot of teams, but you're going to have a part role with Todd Gurley, and that's an unbelievable job of body control to be able to get that in. And Jared Goff managing the pocket and getting away from Rankins is why he was able to make that play.
An 18-yard catch and tightrope walk for the touchdown, and what a start to the half for the Rams. How did he stay in bounds? Touchdown Brown, his first of the year, and it was a beauty. Malcolm Brown played collegiately at Texas and just showed amazing body control. Saints defenders who were on the plate thought he was out of bounds. You'll see Anzalone pointing as if to say he stepped out. Somehow Malcolm Brown stayed in bounds and took it into the end zone, and this is an 11-point game. Out to the 25. Back to the touchdown.
Well, first of all, Jared Goff, he does an excellent job in the pocket. Really a great drive on his part, taking what the defense had and made some great throws. Rankins is right there to make a play. He's able to get away from him, find Brown there along the sideline. Of course, a great acrobatic play by him. But Marcus Williams, you know, these guys go low, and you expect that so many times for these runners that are able to see the defender coming in on them, and you see those types of plays where guys just decide to hurdle them. But Jared Goff obviously excited. They've now scored 10 unanswered points going back to the 3 they got before the half. See if their defense can make a play.
Here's Kamara. Stretched out by that Rams defensive front with Joe Barry cheering on the sideline. A gain of just 2 as Troy Hill came up and made the tackle.
As I was talking about earlier, that the Rams are so accustomed to playing with a lead because they are so explosive offensively, and then teams have to abandon the running game, and then you'll turn these pass rushers loose. And I think Sean Payton's done an excellent job of maintaining balance, and as Aaron Andrews reported, he's going to keep the foot on the pedal, and rightfully so.
Passes to Thomas. What an effort. First down. Breaking tackles all the way, went around LaMarcus Joyner.
Marcus Joyner, he has the first crack at him, and then Marcus Peters is going to be right there to make a play also, and both of these guys whiff, and we've seen what happened in the first half with missed tackles. They get a chance to make a stop, and instead, a new set of downs.
Under G. Mike 5'8", Mike 5'8". Ready. We're waiting. We're set.
Little toss back, flea flicker, pass is caught. Thomas again out of bounds at midfield.
And Marcus Peters feels like it was offensive pass interference, a well-designed play by Sean Payton. They want to take the home run shot on a deep post, but the Rams, they read it right away. LaMarcus Joyner's in the middle of the field. There's nothing there. He immediately then comes out to Michael Thomas, and that's where Marcus Peters was hoping for a call at the top of the route as he got,
Mike 5'8".
as he came out of it to the boundary.
We're waiting. We're set.
Pass, or the handoff rather, to Kamara, and Dante Fowler just made his first play as a Ram. Picked up for 2 draft picks on Tuesday, and he shot through there and brought down Kamara. Good play.
Great play. One of the few good plays we've really seen from this defense.
A loss of 4, 2nd and 14.
Ready. Yellow waiting. Yellow waiting. Easy. Kill. Mike 5'8" right. Ready. We're waiting. We're set.
On 2nd down, Breeze throws, pass is caught by Thomas. Again, when Breeze throws it in Thomas's direction, they don't miss. A gain of 7.
No, you're in man coverage, and they run Michael Thomas, and you know, Peters trying to keep up with him. That's tough duty. So now the Rams they've now gotten where they want the Saints, and that is the 3rd down. And can you make a play? And unfortunately, in that first half, far too often they couldn't. The Saints were 4 of 5 on 3rd downs in that first half.
Ready. Ready. Set. Ready. 90. Next up. Mike 5'8". Ready. We're waiting. Set.
Breeze gets rid of it. Pass is caught by Ingram, but a good tackle by Littleton. And it's 4th down. At the end of the play, there was a little extra shove by Nickell Robey-Coleman. There was pressure on Breeze by Aaron Donald.
He's trying to rip the ball out, but he was on the ground, so I almost expected to see a flag. But you see Donald, he's the one who throws Breeze off and forces him to get it out. And Nickell Robey, he's kind of fortunate there, but they do their job, and Littleton makes the stop and makes the tackle to force the punt.
This is the first punt of the game for either side. Morstead. JoJo Natson calls for a fair catch and has it out near the 17. So the Rams defense makes a stop. LA gets it back down 11, 5.5 left, 3rd quarter. Well, some celebs are here in New Orleans. Isaiah, Keegan-Michael Key. Penny Vaughn is up here just 2 suites away from us. Good to catch up with him before the game. 5.5 to go, 3rd quarter. Rams get the ball back and start at their own 16.
Yeah, now the Rams can start to put a little pressure on this Saints team if they're able to come away with any more points on this drive and turn it into a 1-possession ball game.
Here's Gurley, who has been bottled up for the most part. Trey Hendrickson made the stop. Hendrickson, who was a 3rd-round pick out of Florida Atlantic a year ago, had 2 sacks as a rookie and 14 snaps in the opener, but had been inactive the past 6 games. Now he's active because Marcus Davenport, their 1st-round pick, is out with a bad toe, may miss up to a month.
That's a big loss for this New Orleans team, too, because he was really starting to come on. Of course, they gave up a lot. They gave up next year's 1st round to move up to pick Davenport. And they needed a guy opposite of Cam Jordan to rush the passer.
Green Bay did that deal. And now, before the snap, the Rams sideline called a timeout.
Wow. Sean McVay just didn't like the way that looked and burned a timeout, which, keep in mind, in a game like this, those are huge.
11-point game. 2nd and 10 when we come back. Welcome back to the Mercedes-Benz Superdome. The Rams trailed by as many as 21, 18 at the half. Took their first possession, got it into the end zone here in the 2nd half. They trailed by 11 and face 2nd and 10.
We'll see what the Saints are able to do. We talk about the Rams making a defensive stop. The Saints, they haven't forced a punt yet in this ball game.
Here is Gurley, who breaks loose. Down just inside the 40. They're going to give him that roll up to the 40-yard line and a 24-yard carry.
Well, just a great job up front. This offensive line, and then Gurley, once he sees the crease, he puts his foot in the ground and gets going, and he hits it, and he's an explosive, fast player, and that was his best run of the day.
24 on that carry, had 34 total prior to that. Goff hangs in, tipped and caught off the hands of Kupp and into the arms of Brandon Cooks.
I think he was trying to throw it to Cooks the entire time. It's just that Kupp, where they were in relation to each other, did he make the catch? It sure looks like he does.
Here's a pass to Higbee. And the tight end has got a 1st down grab for 6, 2nd and 4.
They were on the same line, Kupp and Cooks were, and so this ball's thrown. Kupp thinks it's to him. He's going up for it. Instead, he had Cooks in behind him, really with a lot of space around him. You can see Brandon Cooks. This is a great route by him. A speed cut into the middle. There's nobody there. You see, and if he catches that on the run, he is out the gate.
Looked like a good catch. The Rams hurried up just in case the Saints wanted to challenge. 2nd and 4. Gurley trying to get him rolling. 1st down LA. Cameron Jordan on the stop. Here's the catch again.
It's just this guy, you hear me say it every time we do a game of his, whether it was when he was with the Saints or the Patriots, and now with the Rams, that he's one of my favorite guys to watch. Brandon Cooks, he can do it all. I'm shocked that he hasn't stuck. This is his third team in 3 years. He's gotten first-round picks every time they've traded him, but if I was quarterback, I sure wouldn't want him out of my building.
Goff at 300 yards for the game, looking for Gurley, too far. Covered by P.J. Williams, and good coverage at that.
It was good coverage because we've seen what Alvin Kamara can do from the backfield, and Gurley is that same type of guy with his speed, and he's a matchup nightmare really for anyone. P.J. Williams does a good job with it. What the Saints like to see that with Gurley over on the sidelines, but as we know, and as we've seen already, Malcolm Brown, he's no easy task either.
And Gurley had to dig some of those rubber pellets out of his face mask. Pass is broken up, and a good close on that throw by Eli Apple, the former first-round pick of the Giants, as he took it away from Woods.
It didn't look like there was much there on the throw, as Eli Apple had inside position on him, and he had a chance to make an interception. So that was, you throw that ball counting on the receiver to be able to beat the defender, but Eli Apple plays it beautifully and just had what should have been an interception.
Any points on this possession by the Rams makes it a one-possession game. 3rd down and 10. Goff short of the first down. Anzalone and Onyemata and Lattimore combined to make the stop. A gain of 6. It's 4th down.
Well, the last time Goff threatened the defense with his legs is when he threw it to Malcolm Brown on that sideline, and this time kind of the same thing. As he climbs up in the pocket, he's got a chance. They turn, it looked like it might have been Robert Woods out there that they turned loose, but Goff thought maybe he could go get it. He tried. He did all he could, but it's a chance to make it a one-possession game, like you said, Joe.
From 34 and drilled by Zuerlein. This was a 21-point game with 26 seconds left in the first half. That's what Troy was talking about. Missed opportunity. But now it's an 8-point game in New Orleans. It's America's Game of the Week. We were tied at 14. The Saints scored the next 21. The Rams have scored the last 13. Little Willie Nelson for you. As you see the drive, it was capped on the field goal by Zuerlein. Todd Gurley was not out there on the 3rd down play. We'll show you why. As Hill takes a knee. Those rubber pellets that are on these fields, he got a face full of them right there and had to go to the sideline, dig those things out of his face mask, off his face, out of his eyes, and that's why he wasn't out there on an important down. But this is now an 8-point game.
Yeah, and Malcolm Brown, he made really a great block on that play, but certainly when Todd Gurley's not in the game and the threat that he is out of the backfield, and even when they split him out, he most definitely would have been in that situation.
Double, ready. You waiting? Reset. Ready. 90. Reset.
Play action pressure from Donald. Brees gets away. Finds Hill. And Drew Brees avoided the sack with Aaron Donald on his back. Saturday, Dwayne Haskins and the 10th-ranked Ohio State Buckeyes look to keep their Big Ten and playoff hopes alive as they enter a high-stakes showdown with Michigan State. Saturday at 11:30 Eastern on Fox, or watch anywhere on the Fox Sports app. No sacks for either side.
Ready, check. Blue 80, beside.
Kamara. Littleton. Ebukam in on the tackle, a gain of 3. So now another third down coming up. Rams made a stop the last time defensively they faced a third down.
They sure did, and if you're the Saints, you certainly recognize, like you said, the last 13 points for them, and now with it being a one-possession game, they're starting to feel the heat a little bit and how important this down is for them.
Ready, Blue 80, beside.
Pass is caught for the first down, Thomas. And that conversion will end quarter number 3. 8 yards to get a first down. That combination basically unstoppable. Back after this from your local Fox station. See that guy down there at the bottom. Michael Thomas has his 8th 100-yard game in the NFL. He's going to cash in. His rookie deal is up at the end of next year.
121 yards in this game already, and his longest reception is just 19 yards, and the Rams just simply have not had an answer for him. They've had Marcus Peters has been on him, and when they've needed a play and everyone knows where the ball's going, they've been unable to keep him from making the catch.
On first down, a toss to Kamara, running right. Good tackle and a play made by Hill.
Talked about Michael Thomas coming into this game and the fact that when he has been targeted, he catches the ball 90% of the time. I don't know that I've ever heard of that being that high for a wide receiver. And in this game today, they've targeted him 12 times and he's caught 10. So it has continued, and with everybody knowing where Drew Brees wants to go, they just have not had an answer.
You got under 5'8".
He's at the top. Taysom Hill is at the bottom, number 7. And the handoff is to Kamara. Short gain here of 3. Brockers on the tackle. Another third down coming up. The Saints with 3 first downs in the third quarter after piling up 24 first downs in the first half. They've gone 5 for 7 on this down. It's 3rd and 6.
Like 4-1. Ready. Blue 80. Set.
Brees gets hit as he throws. The ball is out. And all the officials look at each other, and finally Bill Vinovich says incomplete.
Well, this is why they went out and they made a trade for Dante Fowler. He's right here, and you're going to see him working against Teron Armstead, and he's the one who initially gets the pressure, and as soon as Brees then tries to step up, guess who's there? Number 99, Aaron Donald. So the strength of this defense comes up big on the third down to force another Morstead punt.
First half for the Saints, they had 5 touchdowns and a fumble with their 6 possessions. Second half, 2 possessions, 2 punts. Matson is ridden out of bounds with that punt. Let's see where they mark it. At the 17, 39-yard punt. Back to work, the Rams offense trailing by 8. It was 35-14 New Orleans. Since then, the Rams have gone field goal, touchdown, forced to punt, field goal, forced to punt, have it back, down by 8, and they're the offensive leaders for LA. One big run by Gurley of 24 yards, and that's it. 65 on the day, and a touchdown. They fake it to him, throw it to Kupp. And after missing 2 games with an MCL sprain, Cooper Kupp is back and good for 13.
Yeah, and the Rams, once again, they break the huddle. They immediately get to the line of scrimmage. It looked like the Saints were just thinking they had a little more time, and off they go. They snap the ball on a quick snap, and they come out, and it's a pretty easy pickup to Kupp. And you know, like you talked about and we did a little bit earlier, Joe, this Cooper Kupp is a sensational player, and you know, they got a lot of different weapons, a little different from what they faced last Sunday with Minnesota with those two guys, Thielen and Diggs. They've just got more of them here with the Rams.
Trying to set up a screen for Gurley. Got tripped up. Picks up 5.
Dennis Allen, he's got to be over there on the sidelines himself just thinking, man, what do we got to do to make a stop? I mean, they just have not been able to force a punt, and clearly since the end of that first half, the job that the Rams have been able to do in climbing and clawing back into this game, the Saints are starting to feel it a little bit.
P.J. Williams got that last tackle, 2nd down and 5, play clock at 7. Good protection. Pass is over the middle and caught by Cooks. Another fastball from Goff for 15 yards.
Watch Cooks come into your screen and see what Jared Goff sees. And he's waiting for Cooks to just separate himself, so that zone coverage, once again, I can't tell you how many receivers would have just stopped right there and not give their quarterback anywhere to go with the ball. But he works out, he finds a window for Goff, and Goff hangs with him, knowing that he can trust him to find the hole within the zone.
Here's Gurley for a couple. Cooks is up over 100 yards in this game. He's well on his way to another 1,000-yard season. Signed a 5-year, $81 million extension when he got picked up in the trade from New England. What a weapon for Jared Goff, the young quarterback, the guy that can go deep, can go over the middle, whatever you need.
Well, how about Les Snead and the job that he did in losing Sammy Watkins and yet going out and replacing that with a guy like Brandon Cooks. They made a lot of big-time moves in that organization.
Second and 8, pass is caught. That's Kupp. A yard short of a first down. I'll say this on top of that for Les Snead, who's been the GM since 2012. There were some teams that didn't want to draft Todd Gurley. He was coming off an ACL tear. He went 10th in the first round. Back in 2015, had to sit out his first 2 games, still recuperating. And he's the best back in the game. Brought in Sue, Peters to lead. He's done a great job. 3rd down and 1.
Got to believe they're in 4-down territory here.
They fake it to Gurley. They throw it to Kupp. Down the sideline. Cooper Kupp stays in. Touchdown. And the lead is now 2. And Goff says they'll go for it to try to tie it. 41 yards to Cooper Kupp.
Well, they're expecting man coverage, so you got the picking action here, and you're going to see the rub, the natural rub with Robert Woods, and here comes Kupp out the other side. They're not able to keep up with it. Eli Apple in coverage, and he's up the sidelines, and now they have a chance to go for 2 and tie this ball game up. And this dome has gotten awfully quiet.
The Rams are 4 for 5 on 2-point tries. They've gone to Gurley 3 times, Malcolm Brown the other.
Well, we'll see. These coaches, they have a play in mind when they get down here on the 2-point. A lot of times you'll see quarterbacks roll out one way and work half the field and buy some time, but the Rams, they got Gurley in the backfield, spreading out the Saints.
Just got it away. Everett with a dive. Got it. Tie game. Gerald Everett takes it home. And the Rams are now 5 for 6 on 2-point tries. It was Cooper Kupp. 41 yards down the sideline in a dome where his grandfather once played. It's a 35-35 game in New Orleans. What a day. Well, for that 2-point conversion attempt, watch head coach Sean McVay. His 32-year-old legs were flying down the sideline trying to call timeout.
You see Jared Goff, he didn't even, he's trying to get the ball out so quick. That's the way that play is meant to operate, that he didn't even get his hands on the laces. But Sean McVay was trying to get the officials' attention to call a timeout. I'm curious as to what he saw that he didn't like, but he couldn't get his attention, and they end up converting anyway.
35-35. Hill will bring it out. And a big hit up near the 25 by Micah Kiser.
Here's the touchdown that we saw from Cooper Kupp. Again, working against that man coverage and Eli Apple, and they've missed him the last couple of weeks.
A nice moment before this game. That is Cooper, 18, and his grandfather, Jake, who was a left guard here for the Saints. 67-75. He's in the team's Hall of Fame. Cooper's dad had a short stint with the Cardinals, a quarterback, and now a receiver in the family, and a good one in Cooper Kupp.
Under, right 2-6. Ready.
Taysom Hill in the slot. Breeze finds Hill, and Hill dropped it. Breeze under pressure by the end of that play, and Hill was looking to run before he made the catch.
He's a pretty explosive guy when you look at his measurements and his athletic numbers at the combine. They were right up there comparable to Christian McCaffrey. So he's a heck of an athlete, can do a lot of different things. And, you know, unlike a lot of players that come into the game in that type of situation, he draws a lot of attention. But he's done it all. So he's been able to get incorporated into this offense fairly seamlessly.
That was his 7th snap from scrimmage on offense. Here's Kamara with a hurdle and a first down at the 41. Went over LaMarcus Joyner. Here's athleticism for you.
Hey, look at these guys right here in the middle. Max Unger and then right guard Larry Warford, and the double team that they get right inside that opens it up, and that's a move that I wouldn't recommend.
Now over 100 yards from scrimmage for Kamara.
For a lot of reasons. He's too young.
First down, New Orleans. Tie game. Pass is broken up. Thomas was the target, and good coverage by Joyner, who's missed a couple of tackles and was just leapt over by Kamara.
Yeah, these guys, that's just the way that they tackle. And like I said earlier, you give these running backs and wide receivers a clean look on a defender coming at them. We see it more and more. Guys simply hurdling the defender. Dante Fowler put a little pressure on Drew Brees on that last play. Here he is at the bottom.
Little stun up front. Saints pick it up. This one is incomplete. Looking for a flag and not getting it as Traquan Smith.
I was kind of looking for a flag myself, Joe. It sure looked like there was contact.
Nikel Roby-Coleman in coverage.
Nikel Roby-Coleman, he is looking back, and I guess, you know, with the appearance he's playing the ball, and there are not many nickelbacks in the NFL with the name Nikel.
Good point. Track research team that put that together. Hill in the slot. Brees looked at him and now fires. Pass is caught at the 40 by Thomas. What a game he's had. 18 yards.
Well, I'll tell you how he's able to find him here. First of all, it's zoned, but Drew Brees, there may as well not even be a pass rush. I mean, look at the pocket that he has in front of him, and I don't care. They talk about Drew Brees' lack of height. You could put someone 5 foot tall in that pocket, he would have found him.
Well, Hill was in on that last play, was open, but Brees wanted more and got it.
Ready.
Hill
Ready.
again. In motion. Ingram. Littleton made the stop, a gain of 3.
Well, Drew Brees, you come in and now all of a sudden you're in a tie ball game and you've been struggling a little bit here in this second half, and he realizes the urgency and what has to happen, and not surprised to see him come right back down the field and trying to answer. This is a nice drive that they've got going here.
Both teams over 400 yards of offense. 2nd and 7.
Jam, jam, jam. Jam. Ready.
Thomas at the bottom.
Ready. Beside.
Toss to Kamara. Well played. A gain of just 1. Troy Hill came in. Ndamukong Suh was in to help make the stop. 3rd and 6.
Well, I think you look at this right now at 3rd down, and they're certainly in field goal range. And whether or not Sean Payton is looking at this as potentially 4-down territory.
He's already gone for it once in this game and converted with Taysom Hill. But now it's 3rd and 6.
Ready. Yellow waiting. Yellow waiting.
Play clock was expiring, and it was the sideline and Sean Payton that took the timeout. Fox Sports Supports is proud to partner with The Mission Continues, a nonprofit organization deploying military veterans to build stronger communities across the nation by improving schools, revitalizing parks, and fostering neighborhood development. Visit missioncontinues.org to learn more. Well, the ball is at roughly the 35, so you're looking at a 53, 54-yard try from here, but that's not the way that man thinks, or that man thinks. It's 3rd and 6. Each side with 2 timeouts left. Still no sacks in the game for either side.
Well, they split Alvin Kamara out, so they got both he and Ingram in the ball game.
Brees. Pass is incomplete for Dan Arnold, with coverage by Marquis Christian. And with all those weapons on offense, they go to Dan Arnold, who has 2 catches all year.
Yeah, and it's good coverage, and he had a chance with Alvin Kamara. Right in the middle, Kamara, but they actually did bracket Kamara. I didn't catch that when it happened in real time. They actually played Kamara inside out, so they took him away. Where initially I thought they might have a shot, but yeah, that was good coverage. And we'll see here about the field goal.
Will Lutz from 54. He is on fire. He's made 14 straight, and none bigger than that one. So now the Saints back on top by 3, under 6.5 to go. What a game, 38-35, 6:23 remaining, and the Rams are about to get it back.
I think that Wade Phillips feels like that was a win, even though they gave up the lead or the tie ball game, and the Saints are able to regain the lead. To hold them to 3 points there, he's got to feel pretty good about that one.
Lutz out to the 25. And now we welcome you inside our broadcast booth. That's what it looks like from all the way over there. I'm Joe, along with the Hall of Famer Troy Aikman, and this has been as advertised. It's been fun.
It's been great. Yeah, it looked like the Saints maybe were going to run away with it there towards the end of that first half, but certainly the way that the Rams were able to come back, they've now scored on each of their last 4 possessions, and you start to wonder how many possessions are there left in this game.
Kind of last team with the ball wins. That's the way it's feeling. Goff rolls out to his right. Throws incomplete for Woods. Eli Apple in coverage. At one point, the New Orleans Saints led by 21. The Rams got a little bit of the momentum back right before the half with a 56-yard field goal. Made it an 18-point game. Rams tied it at 35. The Saints back on top by 3. Here's Gurley. Well, this run defense may be for real here in New Orleans as Gurley is shut down, a gain of 1.
Well, on that first down play, Jared Goff had a chance at Robert Woods, and probably his worst throw of the day, and he missed him. And then you come back on 2nd and 10 and run the ball, nothing there. This is a big down right here. Still no sacks for either team in this ball game.
Goff backpedaling, Kupp. Well played. B.J. Williams made the stop to force 4th down.
It looked like Brandon Cooks had a chance. If Goff, he wasn't under pressure, but it's 2nd down and 9. He's thinking if he can get the ball into Kupp's hands quickly, he can pick up the 1st down. But Brandon Cooks was running a corner route and had a step, and Goff just passed it up.
That is the first 3 and out for either team in this game. And the Rams came in with only 7 all year, the fewest in the NFL. Kamara waiting for the punt. It's a knuckler. And takes a great Rams bounce and doesn't give Kamara a chance for a return. 48-yard punt.
Here's the 1st down play that I was talking about to Robert Woods that Goff just missed. I mean, that's a pretty easy throw to make, and it just sails on him. Now this was the 3rd down when he did not take the opportunity to get the ball to Brandon Cooks, and we've seen him make those throws for the last 2 years. And with the game on the line then with 2nd down or 3rd down and 9, he doesn't take the shot and forces the punt, and now this defense for the Rams is going to have to rise up.
Breeze and some of the fans asking for quiet as with 4:50 remaining. Here are the Saints from their own 25. Up by 3.
Waiting. Jam, 5-0, 5-0. Ready. Waiting.
Breeze incomplete. Pass was for Hill, the tight end.
He thought Josh Hill was going to stay on the move, and instead Josh Hill hooks up, and that's why the ball was not anywhere close. You're going to see Josh Hill as he comes around. It's zone coverage, so I don't mind the decision. A lot of times you see guys run through these zones, but Breeze fully expected him to stay on the move.
2nd and 10.
Call. 6. Hey, purple. Ready.
Kamara. Short gain of 3. It looked like Andrus Peat may have gotten a head start before the snap, but no flag. Brockers on the tackle, 3rd and 7.
Yeah, it's interesting for Sean Payton that you throw the ball on 1st down, you stay aggressive, and a high percentage play that really should have been there, and then you want to take some time off this clock as you're marching the ball down the field, run it on 2nd down. So, you know, these are the downs that define whether or not you ultimately win games.
3rd down and 7. Kamara starts in the slot. Passes to Thomas. He's gone. Touchdown, Saints. 72 yards to Michael Thomas on 3rd down.
Well, you see Marcus Peters, he's not even ready. And he's trying to communicate. Michael Thomas just simply runs right by him. And, you know, the Saints are going to be penalized for this celebration at the end of the play using a prop. That's very uncharacteristic of Michael Thomas. A cell phone that he hid prior to the game. This is too big of a game to be risking those kinds of yards, but Marcus Peters confused on the play, and they pay for it.
For Michael Thomas, 12 catches, 211 yards. Now a touchdown. Another look.
Yeah, just mass confusion.
After the touchdown, unsportsmanlike conduct. Offense number 13. 15-yard penalty being forced on the kickoff. Touchdown's good.
So who knows what that will lead to. That'll come in a moment on the kick. And this is the biggest receiving day of the season. He and Jared Cook had been tied at 180 coming in. And a career high 211 receiving yards and now a touchdown for a guy who goes largely unnoticed but just keeps putting up numbers. What a combination with Drew Brees. And now talking to head coach Sean Payton, I'm sure about that penalty that happened on the cell phone pullout. Well, the Panthers, they are red hot, and the Saints are trying to win here today to stay out in front of them. As Carolina's gone to 6-2. The Falcons, don't forget about them. They've been through a ton of injuries, but they took down first place Washington, and the Vikings made it look easy against Detroit. Now a 10-point game with under 4 to go. And we'll see what kind of an answer the Rams have.
That's a great job by Drew Brees and the Saints. And the game on the line, no surprise. He was looking for Michael Thomas. And yeah, he's been doing it for a while now. Under the radar, but a big day here this afternoon.
The Rams more than capable of a quick strike. They're going to need it. Here's Countess. Took it in around the 5. With some room out across the 40. So good field position for the Rams after a 37-yard return because of this.
I just don't understand it, Joe. I mean, he's the last guy, the last superstar wide receiver that you would expect. We were talking about it very early in this game that he just goes about his business. You know, he doesn't have all the theatrics, and yet at one of the biggest moments of this game, he pulls out a cell phone. And now the Rams have great field position.
They start at their own 42. Goff, Gurley. Out on the edge and out of bounds at the 50, forced out by Lattimore, and Gurley and the Rams hurry up, a gain of 8.
Smart play really by Todd Gurley, because typically you would see him put his foot in the ground and take that upfield, but he recognized that for whatever he might potentially gain by keeping it in play, he's going to lose some valuable time off the clock.
Rams were in a shootout a week ago at home against Green Bay and won by 2. Goff backpedaling, and Woods tried to stay in, could not. Well, he gives a great effort every play. 3rd and 2. And conversation with that secondary for the Rams after the mix-up. And the touchdown by Thomas. The 72-yarder. Goff downfield and incomplete for Cooks. And now you feel like any chance LA has is going to rest on this 4th and 2 as they went for a big chunk. Williams in coverage.
Yeah, P.J. Williams, there was no chance whatsoever. P.J. Williams was really in a great position, and Cook, you know, if they're the 50-50 ball is the one that he's going to struggle with just because he's not that tall at 5'10". So it's a challenge, but Jared Goff had predetermined he was going to take that shot and see what he could come up with, and I get it, down 10 points, but now
with a stopped clock, they have to use their second timeout. So that is insult to the 3rd down and 2. How about a recap? Alvin Kamara had a big first half. Drew Brees, 3 touchdown passes in the first half. That one to Benjamin Watson. We saw the tightrope block by Malcolm Brown. The 41-yarder to Cooper Kupp. The 2-point conversion tied it. That was to Everett. But moments ago, a 72-yard completion to Michael Thomas after a field goal by Lutz, and it's a 10-point game. Michael Thomas with a franchise record 211 receiving yards. It was an 18-point game at the half. Here's 4th and 2. Goff. Passes bobbled and dropped by Cooks. Saints take over. Williams there again for New Orleans.
This is a great job by P.J. Williams. This is a tough matchup and a little bit of contact, but I think it was a good non-call, and he has gotten his shot because of Patrick Robinson going on IR, and he's been inconsistent throughout much of the year. He had the big pick 6 that I talked about earlier on Sunday against the Vikings, which helped them win that game. And with the game then in the balance, he's come up big, and certainly they're on 4th and 2 to make the play.
If you lip read, it looked like Sean McVay was looking for a hold. No call, and now with only 1 timeout and turning it over on downs, the Rams watch Brees go back to work at the 50. Ingram. Joyner on the stop. And the Rams use their last timeout. Tough test on the road. And the Rams, who came in as the NFL's only unbeaten team, are staring at their first loss of the season. Their next game will be at home against Seattle, and then that matchup against Kansas City in Mexico City 2 weeks from now.
Well, 4 of their last 5 games now have been on the road, so they've been tested a little bit, certainly through the first half of this season. This is a hard place to come and play, and there's still obviously a lot of football left. But when you start looking at the playoffs and what it looks like and where those games are going to be played, this was, if the Saints go on to win this game, will be a huge win, with knowing clearly they kept Carolina and all that to win the division, but if all things being equal, to play any playoff game back here in New Orleans, that's a big advantage for the Saints.
2nd and 8. Here's Ingram, who fumbled earlier in the game, gets 4. And the clock will run under 3 minutes, and a 3rd down coming up.
This has been a heck of a game. The quarterbacks and the offenses that we talked about, Joe, coming in, and it has not disappointed whatsoever. It's been a lot of offense and a lot of fun.
A conversion here ends the day. A stop here by the Rams gives them the faintest of hopes. And Hill, Taysom Hill, with Breeze at the top. It's Hill in shotgun. It's Kamara, doesn't get it. It's 4th down. And we'll see what Sean Payton wants to do.
Well, they'll run this down to the 2-minute warning, and then they'll discuss and talk about exactly that.
Brockers made that play to bring up 4th down and 1, and we are headed for the 2-minute warning. It has been a heavyweight fight here today in New Orleans, Louisiana. Lived up to the hype. One of those old-fashioned 15-round heavyweight fights. 2 minutes left. Saints lead by 10 on America's Game of the Week as two of the best, not just the NFC, but the NFL has to offer, have battled here today. The Saints offense is still out there. 4th down and 1. Looks like they will go for it, try to end it. Drew Brees, 25 of 36, 346, 4 touchdowns, no picks. After that day against the Vikings on the road where he threw for 120 in a winning cause. Alvin Kamara, 114 from scrimmage with 3 touchdowns. And the big day by Michael Thomas. Here's a toss to Kamara. That's it. A first down by Kamara with a good block out in front by Zach Line. And I know the defense, Troy, gave up a lot of points today for the Saints, but other than the Joe Horn impersonation by Michael Thomas with the cell phone, this was a really good day for New Orleans.
Well, it sure was, and just a fun day to be a part of and watch these two teams square off in what is a very impactful game. And you see how much this game means to Sean Payton and the Saints and the long-term implications of it. Almost 1,000 yards of offense today between these two teams. 80 points and not 1 sack.
As the Rams fall from the ranks of the undefeated, they were the last. As they've said in each of the last 46 seasons, for Don Shula, Larry Zonka, Jake Scott, members of the 72 Miami Dolphins, the perfect season, 17-0, stands as the only. And these Rams will head out of town, have a home date against Seattle at 8-1. And the Saints have won 7 straight, 7-1, and that's it for Week 9 from New Orleans. Troy, these two offensive minds had everything on display here today. This was an impressive effort by both.
Those two guys played awfully well.
Drew Brees, Jared Goff, and the 39-year-old gets to celebrate. His team is on a roll. Take a break and come back here to New Orleans after this.